This chart means that we are about to go. Okay, so welcome back. Let's break down natural gas for you. If you stay until the end, I'm going to give you some opportunities to look for entries. And of course, the first thing that we always want to talk about when we're analyzing over the weekend is the fact that on Sundays, natural gas usually has a pretty significant gap. And again, that just means the difference of where price opens on Sunday versus where price closed on Friday. So we base our analysis based on the technicals, but you have to keep in mind that natural gas is probably going to provide some type of gap when the market reopens. So we are taking a look at this weekly candle here. So we just kind of closed in this doji candle over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over here and I'm going to grab my demonstration tool so you can kind of follow along as we are going through this chart right in here. So this is the weekly candle that just closed here. So again, significantly, we can definitely see here how we had price come up and take liquidity from this 4.30 area, and we closed down at almost 80% liquidity of this huge green candle that happened on the week of March 3rd. So for the purposes of this candle, we need to consider that liquidity has pretty much been taken out of the market when it comes to that March 3rd week. Now, the interesting point here is going to be right here, I believe, which is this candle right here. Okay. We ended up kind of closing right at this key level right here. So, previous, let's make this white, previous resistance, did this turn into, I'm sorry, previous support, did this turn into resistance within this particular area right in here? Because remember that support and resistance is never an exact line. It's kind of an area. So the fact that we did not close above this area leads me to believe that we can still see some selling pressure down on natural gas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove this now. Let me get back over here to this. And so as we take a look here, what I want to do now is break down the levels for you. So what I want you to do is as I'm breaking down these levels for you, I want you to pause the video and make sure that you mark these levels for you. And then what I want you to do is, if these levels are helpful for you and you want to see me give you more levels from week to week on the different charts, head down to the comments below and just write in the word levels so I understand that they're important to you. And if I get enough people that want levels, we'll continue to show you and give you the levels across the board. So we're going to start up here with the top, and we're going to first draw our playing field. Okay. So this is the big 30,000 foot view playing field for natural gas right now. And if you look down at the ticker at the bottom, you can see some of the news that's coming out that we are beginning to get warmer climates here in the United States. So the demand for natural gas has fallen. And so at this point, they just basically are looking at how much do we have to refill in the natural gas markets from the cold weather that has been happening. Okay. So this is why I think we began to see these bearish movements happening over the past few weeks. So now on a smaller time frame, we are going to mark up this level right here. And again, why is this level important? Well, because here we had previous resistance that turned into previous support, and we came very close to this level here. So ultimately, if we look down in this region right here, we can still see that we have a gap that is still open down in this area. Okay, so we are going to label this as an open gap. Now, does that mean, hey, Armando, does that gap going to close? Well, the answer is yes and no. And the reason why I say that is because we recently just had a gap from January 2023. So 2 years it took to close that gap. So there's no saying when they're going to close that market gap or if they will close that market gap. But I just want to let you know, if price begins to descend down into this area, right, then of course, once we break here, if we start heading down at that point, they will definitely take out the gap. So this 3.74 area is going to be very important right here. Okay. And the reason why that is we really can't consider price to go any further down until we have a significant candle to close below this 3.74 area. So you want to look for something like this, okay, on either a day candle or a week or an 8-hour candle. That'll be your sign. So if we drop over to the 8-hour chart, right, you need to see some type of price action where there's a area of structure right here that has been broken. They came up to retest and then they drop down to the next level. Okay. Because if you look at this 8-hour chart here, a couple of things that stand out. Number one is we do have a floor here where price rejected. And so even though it's very close, if we look right here, previous resistance turned into support. So this 3.54 area will have to be very important as well if this begins its journey right on the way down. We have to look at these different price levels. So we don't consider 3.54 until we close below 3.74. Okay. So as we are looking to either walk this down or take another sell to the top side, we are going to discuss these parameters right now. So remember at the beginning of the video, we did talk about the possibility of a gap. So gaps happen every Sunday. Why do I know? Because we trade gaps live, not only natural gas, but crude oil and indices and gold, silver. We trade them live inside of my VIP private community. So if you're interested in live trading daily, okay, Sunday through Friday, you can head up to theprofessortrades.com, find a very cheap plan that works for you. Come on in, integrate with us, join our 300 plus members in our community from all over the world. We have some amazing traders. We have an Elliott Wave room with a full-time analyst who provides you parameters for these trades so you can be more profitable long-term as well. We take short-term profits and then we let runners go as long as we can, protected, because we never let winners turn into losers. And hey, if you are getting some value on this video, head up and hit that like button for me. And if you are brand new and you want to learn more about natural gas and crude oil, okay, which is a very, very profitable symbols to take, along with other things that we do as well, head up and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when there's a brand new analysis. So as we look at natural gas, we are not going to consider selling again until we close below 3.74. Okay. So, barring on what happens with the gap, there are going to be two scenarios that could happen. Okay. We are either going to get another long position. Okay. And again, we talked about this liquidity here being taken out of that candle. So, for all intents and purposes, they have taken out liquidity of this particular candle here. Okay. So, there's one or two things that can naturally happen here that we would look for. Okay. If we add a Fibonacci level from this low to this high, we can see here that we are in this nice area that we routinely like to catch the next wave up on natural gas. Okay. So there's two scenarios for you here to begin the week. Again, basing that there is no gap in the market. Number one is that we take another long, possibly back up to the upside. Okay. In this particular case here. Okay. We look for that move back to the upside. In this particular case, we would want to see if we can take it back up to this particular fib level. And then, of course, your stop loss would need to be below the wick right here. So it's still sitting at about 2.38 to 1 risk to reward. So that is one possibility if we do not get a candle to come down and close below the 100. That would have to be your exit. Or if we gap there on Sunday, then this trade becomes invalidated. Okay. That trade becomes invalidated. Now, once we get a closure, okay, once we get a closure below here, then we just flip the script and we look for a short position on a higher time frame, something like this. Okay, we try to take it down to the next level. Now, this one is not as profitable because we cannot discredit this level right here, because if you look over here to the left, we had a previous bounce. So this becomes uh, still not a bad, 2 to 1, almost a 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. But again, this scenario will not happen until we get a close below 3.74, possibly a retest of this area, and then we come back down to this area here. So we're going to be patient on this level here. Okay, natural gas is known as the widowmaker for a reason. This thing can move very fast. I believe you have to use very small lot sizing. So if you are, trading in futures, there is nothing wrong with entering your first couple of contracts with some mini contracts to make sure that you are correct on the decision that you made. Because if you're wrong, you should be able to sustain a couple of mini contracts. And if you're right, then you can add on to it if you feel like it with a full contract. Starting with a full contract can get you in the red very quickly unless you know what you're doing or you're very disciplined to close the trade if you need to. So the game plan for this week at the very beginning of the week is possibly to look for a move up from here, right back up. Okay. And again, this would stay validated. Okay. This would stay validated until you get a candle to close below the 100 fib level. If no candle closes below the 100 fib level, you try to take your longs as long as you can. Okay. How long will that be? Do not know, because again, we talked about the lack of demand now for natural gas with these weathers. So really, these should be your two main trading levels for the beginning of the week. Okay. Right here and right here. Okay. Those are the two levels that we are currently sitting in on this 8-hour chart. If we drop down to the 4-hour chart, you can see it a little clearer there. We had a bullish engulfing candle. We came down and did a retracement. We came down and took liquidity. Are we going to get now, at least short term, are we going to get that W pattern? We don't know how far they'll go, but will we get a bounce back up is the question going to be at the beginning of the week. So this 4-hour chart here will give you a little bit more clarity as far as the levels and the long-term play once we figure out the early direction of natural gas at the beginning of the week to include any gaps that may or may not happen inside of the actual symbol. So if you got some value, hit the like button. I appreciate you watching. Share this video with others who may be interested in learning more about natural gas. And again, do not blow your accounts trying to hit a home run on natural gas, because it could really mess you up. We treat natural gas in our VIP community very cautiously. We take trades when they come to us, and we have a good risk management plan for those trades. Okay, so have a great rest of the weekend, or if you're watching this during the week, have a great week. Have a safe trading week. Stay safe, stay happy, and don't forget to be kind to others. Do something random, act of kindness towards someone this week. There's a way that the world will pay it back to you when you least expect it. See you soon, and thanks for watching.